Hi there, I'm Ari. Today I'll be talking about Prop 27 and Prop 26, each of which talk about the future of gambling in California. The reason why I'm talking about two different propositions is because they are rival propositions, which means it is highly improbable that both of them will be passed. So if you want one of them to be passed, it is in your favor to decline the other one. So what are the California gambling laws? Must be 18 to enter a casino, 21 to gamble, and in accordance with the Indian Gambling Regulatory Act of 1988, casinos are permitted on tribal lands in California, with certain games being allowed. This is because Native American reservations are sovereign nations that are self-governed. Federally, in 2018, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a bill that made sports betting illegal, thus making it possible to legalize sports betting. So states are now deciding how they want to legalize sports betting in their state. California is currently figuring out how they want to legalize sports betting, which is why we have these two propositions. What Prop 27 wants to do is allow online sports gambling. The two main supporters for this proposition is FanDuel and DraftKings. If you play fantasy football, you know these names. They are two online sports gaming and betting companies that are located in the East Coast. So they are not California companies, but they are invested in California election. They are multi-billion-dollar companies that stand to gain millions upon millions of dollars if this bill is to be passed, which could be a reason to why they are investing in the sponsorship of this Prop 27. However, the way that they are advertising Prop 27 is incredibly interesting. Um, as you can see on this very popular ad, it says solutions to homelessness, mental health, and addiction, and it references by using the taxpayer money from digital sports entertainment. Doesn't even talk about sports gambling or betting one bit, or the legalization of sports betting, which is what the prop is about. This is an example of a red herring fallacy according to our textbook, which is purposely misleading your audience by by speaking about the more minute things in this proposition while ignoring the main goal of the proposition. So the reason that talks about solutions to homelessness is because it plans to give a few $100 million to homelessness. About 10% of the taxes of tax-paid money will go, an undetermined amount also will go towards homelessness. And the other 90% will go towards these big companies, these big out-of-state gaming companies, which is not referenced here. And the reason why I specify that it's only a few 100 million, which sounds like a lot, in the last 2 years, California has put up around $196 billion towards solving homelessness or solutions for homelessness, and we are still far from having a solution for homelessness. So that few million there, it's not the solution that it's claiming to be. And there's also a risk of increased homelessness by making online gaming more accessible, and thus more causes of debt, or if that can be really tricky. So what are the dangers of Prop 27? It makes gaming more accessible to minors. So basically, it can make online gambling as easy as just a tab on a computer or an app on an iPad. It's gonna take away income from tribal casinos, as people will no longer have to go to the casino to gamble, they can just go online, and this is gonna be detrimental to the Native American tribes that rely on these casinos to stay afloat. These like, revenue from casinos is what helps fund their economy. It gives them money towards their school, towards their healthcare and towards fighting the poverty crisis that a lot of Native Americans are facing. Furthermore, if you're gambling online, you have a greater risk of losing more money. The reason this is because when you spend money on a credit card, you, according to a 2019 study, that you spend roughly 84% more money than you do if you were to use cash. An average purchase with a credit card is $112, while an average purchase with cash is only $22. This means that you stand to risk more money gambling online than you do if you were to gamble in person, which means you could go further into debt. It's riskier. Furthermore, online gambling is not as fun. It's not the same as the social aspect of gambling, which makes sports betting so fun. It it stands to be something that you do alone. Instead of losing 20 bucks to your friend Tom, you're going to be losing $200 to a random stranger online. It's not the same. However, I think makes sports betting so fun is part of the social aspect, and Prop 26 plans to do that. Why Prop 26? Well, Prop 26 allows in-person roulette, dice games, and sports gambling on tribal lands. It promotes safe gambling by making it easier to set a spending cash limit or spending limits. You can go to casino. You can be like, I'm gonna only spend $300. Go into that casino with $300, and once you run out, you run out. It also advocates a time for gambling. Instead, when gambling's online, it's 24/7. This can make people struggling from a gambling addiction far harder to recover. Instead of having to go to casino, all they have to do is just open their computer. And and therefore you can gamble on impulse, meaning that and on impulse you are more likely to lose money than if you were to be strategic and with your gambling, then you're more likely to win money. Furthermore, receiving cash prizes immediately if you're in person. When you are online, it is not yet specified how you're going to receive those cash prizes, when you're going to get them, or how they're going to be wired to you. But when you're in a casino, you get it that day in cash. It's also harder to get it's harder to get into a casino if you're a minor. There's more security, and this is important because gambling is highly addictive and can be risky if you are a minor. So it is best to keep minors away from gambling, and the best way to do that is to keep it in casinos, which they cannot enter since they're not yet 18. It also protects Native American sovereignty by allowing them to have the casinos to be that they need to keep them economically afloat. It increases job opportunities for them. It decreased unemployment rates from 25% to around 22% in the first 4 years. It also increased the average income rate by about 3,000. And it also increased funding for education and healthcare. There's advocated amounts where all this money can go towards, and it's what the Native American tribes rely on, and this is particularly important to us as Cal Poly students who have our school built on a Native American land from the Yakitutu tribe. It is our obligation to respect the Native American tribes, and part of respecting them is respecting their sovereignty and how they keep their economy afloat. And and so we can do that by choosing Prop 26 instead of Prop 27. Prop 27 stands to make millions of dollars for these out of state online multi billion dollar companies, while Prop 26 stands to help fund Native American tribes while also promoting safe gambling and making and keeping sports gambling social. So if you want to vote, I strongly suggest you do. The California midterms elections are on November 8th. If you are an out-of-state student, you are still able to vote in your local elections. Since everyone here is a Cal Poly student, you can do that. The deadline to register is October 24th, 2022. If you're interested in registering, you can contact, and you don't know how, you can contact Cal Poly ASI and they can walk you through it. The deadline to mail your ballot by is November 8th, 2022. Don't wait till the last minute, at least do November 7th if you want it to be counted, and you can track where your ballot is in the process once you mail it in. Thank you for listening, and I really strongly suggest that you vote no on Prop 27 and yes on Prop 26. Thank you.